Welcome to our channel. Do you remember Uncle Bill, Little Buffy, and the wise Mr. French from Family Affair? They brought laughter, tears, and unforgettable memories. But behind the scenes, their lives were filled with heartache, faded fame, and untimely losses. Join us as we revisit the lives of these beloved stars, exploring both their joyful moments on screen and the struggles they faced off-screen. If you've seen Family Affair or still recall these faces, leave a 1 in the comments. If this show is new to you, comment 0, and we'll share more hidden gems from classic TV. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more emotional stories about the icons we love. Anissa Jones was born on March 28, 1958, in West Lafayette, Indiana, USA. She joined Family Affair in 1966 at just 8 years old, playing the role of Buffy Davis, a sweet orphan girl with her beloved doll Mrs. Beasley, a symbol of innocence and warmth. However, behind that angelic smile, a Hollywood childhood tragedy was quietly unfolding. When Family Affair ended in 1971, Anissa was only 13, but she was trapped in the image of Buffy. Studios refused to give her more mature roles, leading Anissa into depression and a deep sense of abandonment. Her parents divorced and fought over custody, forcing her to move from place to place. Without clear direction, Anissa dropped out of school, hung out with bad influences, and started using drugs at the age of 16. Her health quickly declined. She became weak, frequently moody, and suffered from chronic insomnia due to abusing sleeping pills. Doctors warned that her liver was failing, but Anissa ignored the warnings and continued her life of parties and drugs. Her life spiraled out of control. No job, no hope, only temporary friends, and the loneliness of a forgotten young star. On August 28, 1976, Anissa was found dead at a house in Oceanside, California, after an all-night party. She was only 18 years old. The autopsy confirmed that she died from an overdose of cocaine, PCP, and barbiturates. A private funeral was held, and her ashes were scattered into the Pacific Ocean, a place she once said was the only place I feel free. At the time of her death, she left behind about $160,000, mostly earned from Family Affair. However, the pain she endured far surpassed that material value. Anissa Jones remains a heartbreaking reminder of the dark side of fame, especially when it comes too early. Brian Keith was born on November 14, 1921, in Bayonne, New Jersey, USA. In 1966, at the age of 45, he joined Family Affair as Bill Davis, a successful single uncle who unexpectedly becomes the guardian of his 3 orphaned nephews. With a calm demeanor and a kind heart, Brian turned this character into a symbol of sacrifice and family love. However, in real life, Brian Keith carried deep wounds that no one could see. His marriages were a long series of hardships. He was married 3 times to Frances Helm, Judy Landon, and finally Victoria Young. His first 2 marriages ended in conflict and betrayal. His third marriage to Victoria lasted nearly 3 decades, but was also filled with tension and distance. Brian was a quiet man who rarely showed his emotions, while Victoria was lively and strong-willed. They loved each other, but also hurt each other, especially after the death of their daughter Daisy, who died by suicide just 6 weeks before Brian's own passing. This loss devastated him. He isolated himself, refused to see friends, and did not return to work. Along with the family grief, Brian's health steadily declined. A lifelong heavy smoker, he suffered from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and end-stage lung cancer. Although he quit smoking 10 years earlier, the disease did not relent. He became dependent on oxygen, endured constant pain, and gradually lost the ability to work. In June 1997, Brian Keith took his own life with a gun at his home in Malibu at the age of 75. Some friends believed it was an accident while cleaning the gun, but the police confirmed it was a suicide. His ashes were cremated and placed next to his daughter's grave at Westwood Village Memorial Park. He left behind an estate worth approximately 10 million USD, a large fortune, but the price he paid was a lonely life where fame could not fill the emptiness in his soul. Sebastian Cabot was born on July 6, 1918 in London, England. In 1966, at the age of 48, he joined Family Affair as Mr. Giles French, the elegant but warm-hearted English butler who provided steadfast emotional support to the three Davis children. His calm and refined presence on screen made this character one of the most beloved figures in television. However, behind this composed image was a life filled with suffering and loneliness. Sebastian battled obesity and diabetes from a young age, which required him to follow a strict diet and administer daily insulin injections. His health symptoms worsened during the filming of Family Affair, leading to him needing a break from filming in 1969. Actor John Williams stepped in to replace him. After some rest, he returned to work, but his health still showed no signs of improvement. Despite this, throughout his life, he maintained a refined appearance and spoke with great care, yet his life was marked by loneliness and illness. On August 23, 1977, Sebastian Cabot suddenly passed away from a stroke at his home in North Saanich, British Columbia, at the age of 59, just a year after announcing his retirement. His estate at the time of his death was estimated at around 5 million USD, primarily from his earnings in acting, voice work, and television. However, what people remember most about him is not his wealth, but the image of a patient butler who hid his pain behind a gentle smile. Aaron Moran was born on October 18, 1960, in Burbank, California, USA. In 1970, at the age of 10, she appeared in Family Affair as Amy, the cheerful little friend of the Davis children. Although her role was small, it opened the door to future success, especially with her role as Joni Cunningham in Happy Days, a part that made Aaron one of America's most beloved teen stars. However, early fame marked the beginning of a lifelong tragedy. Aaron once shared that success came too soon, leaving her unprepared to mature. After Happy Days ended, she became trapped in the sweet image of Joni and struggled to find new work. In 1987, she married Rocky Ferguson, but the marriage quickly fell apart due to abuse and control. She divorced in 1993 and remarried later that year to Stephen Fleckman. However, her life did not improve. The couple lost their home due to debt and were forced to live in a mobile home park. The frustration and isolation pushed Aaron into deep depression, and she turned to alcohol as the only way to escape. Illness struck as she turned 50. In 2016, Aaron was diagnosed with stage 4 throat cancer, a rapidly progressing disease that left her unable to speak or eat normally within months. In her final days, she lived quietly with her husband, writing brief notes about her past and old roles as a farewell to life. Aaron Moran passed away on April 22, 2017, at her home in New Salisbury, Indiana, at the age of 56. A forensic examination confirmed that the cause of death was complications from late-stage throat cancer. She left behind only about 50,000 USD in assets, most of which went toward paying debts and medical expenses. However, what Aaron truly left behind was much greater: the memory of a bright, innocent smile cherished by millions, and a sobering reminder of the price paid for early fame. Heather Angel was born on February 9, 1909, in Oxford, England. In 1966, at the age of 57, she joined Family Affair as Miss Faversham, a graceful and caring Englishwoman who was always willing to help the Davis family. On screen, she embodied elegance and kindness. However, in real life, her fate was filled with heartbreaking losses. Her first marriage to actor Ralph Forbes ended in less than 10 years due to infidelity and differences in their careers. Heather admitted, "Divorce is not a failure. It is the only way to save the part of yourself that is still alive." In 1944, she married director Robert B. Sinclair, whom she believed to be her true life partner. They had a son and enjoyed happy years together as a family until a fateful night in 1970. That night, a criminal broke into their home in Coldwater Canyon. Robert tried to protect his wife but was killed by the intruder right before Heather's eyes. She was locked in a room hearing her husband's final cries for help. That horrific scene haunted her for the rest of her life, causing her to suffer from long-term panic attacks and depression. Friends later revealed that she couldn't sleep in the dark and always kept the lights on at night to chase away the terrible memories. In the 1980s, Heather was diagnosed with cancer and underwent many painful rounds of chemotherapy. Despite her declining health, she maintained a strong and discreet appearance, refusing to share details of her illness with the press. She passed away on December 13, 1986, in Santa Barbara at the age of 77. She was cremated and laid to rest at Santa Barbara Cemetery. Her estate at the time of her death was estimated to be around $2 million USD, along with an artistic legacy spanning over 50 years. However, perhaps the image that remains forever in people's hearts is that of a woman who lived a life marked by pain, yet steadfastly preserved her elegance, gentleness, and dignity until her final breath. John Williams was born in 1903 in England and became famous for his role as Niles French in the 1967 TV series Family Affair. He temporarily replaced Sebastian Cabot and made an impression with his gentlemanly style and deep, warm voice. He never married and lived a solitary life, dedicating all his passion to his acting career. Despite suffering from chronic heart disease since the 1970s, he continued working because he believed that stopping would lead him to boredom and an early death. His famous saying was, "An actor cannot serve two masters, the stage and personal happiness." John Williams passed away in 1983 in La Jolla with no funeral or family members by his side. His ashes were sent back to England according to his final wishes. His estate was estimated at around $3 million USD, the result of many decades of hard work. He left behind the image of a classic gentleman, talented but lonely. His life is a testament to sacrifice and an unending passion for art. Nancy Walker, born on May 10, 1922, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, USA, joined Family Affair in 1970 as Emily Turner, the cheerful, smart, and energetic housekeeper. She brought a fresh breath of life to the show while creating joyful moments for the audience. However, despite her successful career, Nancy faced challenges in her personal life. She was married twice, first to Gar Moore, a marriage that lasted less than a year, and then to musician David Craig in 1951. However, Nancy's busy work schedule often kept her away from home for long periods, and their marriage was far from easy. A lifelong heavy smoker, Nancy was diagnosed with lung cancer at the age of 60. She underwent multiple surgeries and painful rounds of chemotherapy, but continued to appear on television with a resilient spirit, hiding her illness to keep her audience feeling happy. The cancer spread quickly, leaving her weak and frail within just a few months. Nancy Walker passed away on March 25, 1992, in Studio City, California, at the age of 69. Her funeral was held privately, attended only by family and close friends. Her estate was estimated to be around $4 million USD, primarily from her work as an actress and director. To her fans, Nancy was not only a talented actress, but also a symbol of resilience, a woman who always smiled in the face of death and stood as a rare icon of courage and strength in a harsh Hollywood. Ida Lupino was born on February 4, 1918, in Herne Hill, London, England. In 1969, at the age of 51, she joined Family Affair as Lady Marchwood Mr. French's former lover, bringing elegance and emotional depth to the show. However, Ida Lupino's real life was far more interesting and complex. She was one of Hollywood's first female directors, breaking new ground in an industry where women rarely held the camera. But in her personal life, she experienced 3 broken marriages marked by deep pain and trauma. Her first husband, actor Louis Hayward, was unfaithful while she was paralyzed from polio. Her second marriage also ended when she became pregnant by another man. Her third marriage to actor Howard Duff lasted longer but was filled with conflict and suffering. Her only daughter, Bridget, was later diagnosed with a mental disorder which caused Ida Lupino to carry worry and guilt for the rest of her life. In her later years, Ida faced illness and struggled with alcoholism. She was diagnosed with colon cancer and fought bravely but suffered strokes that weakened her health. She ultimately passed away on August 3, 1995 in Los Angeles at the age of 77 after suffering a stroke while undergoing cancer treatment. Her estate at the time of her death was estimated at around $6 million USD, accumulated from her work as an actress, director, and ownership rights to various films. Despite a life full of tragedy, Ida Lupino is remembered as one of Hollywood's brave pioneers. She remains a symbol of talent, resilience, and unbreakable pride. Sarah Selby, 1905-1980, was an American actress best known for her role as Miss Bryant in Family Affair 1966. Although she played a supporting character, she left a strong impression with her subtle acting and commanding voice. Her life was full of hardships. Both of her marriages ended in sorrow. Her first husband left after a year, and her second passed away the same year Family Affair aired, plunging her into depression. In her final years, Sarah quietly battled cancer, keeping her illness private and receiving treatment at home. She passed away in 1980 at the age of 74 in Los Angeles. Her funeral was simple, attended by only a few close friends, and she left behind an estate worth around $800,000. Sarah is remembered as a quiet yet resilient artist whose life and career ended gently but powerfully. Del Moore, 1916-1970, was a comedian known for his role as Eric Langley in the TV show Family Affair. Despite his talent and appearances in films like The Nutty Professor and Get Smart, he never achieved major fame and faced many personal struggles. As his career declined, he fell into depression and alcoholism, which caused conflicts with his wife. He passed away at the age of 54 from a brain hemorrhage at his home in California. His estate was estimated at around $1.5 million USD, mainly from his work in comedy and television. His sudden death shocked Hollywood and revealed the deep sadness behind the laughter of a beloved comedian. Johnny Whitaker was born on December 13, 1959, in Van Nuys, California, USA. In 1966, at just 7 years old, Johnny rose to fame playing Jody Davis in Family Affair. This mischievous yet lovable orphan boy brought warmth and laughter to millions of viewers and became an icon of American childhood in the 1960s. However, early stardom also cast long shadows behind the scenes. When Family Affair ended, Johnny tried to continue his acting career with roles in Tom Sawyer, 1973, and Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, but his fame gradually faded. Johnny's life took a tragic turn after his mother's death in 1984 and the end of his marriage to Simria Wright just 4 years later. Grief and loneliness drove Johnny into alcohol and drug abuse, sending his life into a downward spiral. Later, his family staged an intervention, urging him to seek help or risk losing contact with them. Eventually, Johnny agreed and began a difficult but hopeful journey toward recovery. By 1988, Johnny had overcome his addiction and became a recovery counselor. He founded a nonprofit organization to support Spanish-speaking drug addicts and shared his story widely to inspire hope and courage. In 2025, Johnny Whitaker is 66 years old, living in California, working in teaching and recovery, and occasionally attending family affair reunion events. Although he has long faded from Hollywood fame, he remains beloved by audiences for his strength, humility, and compassion. Kathy Garver was born on December 13, 1945 in Long Beach, California, USA. In 1966, at the age of 21, she joined Family Affair as Kathy Davis, the mature and caring older sister who always looked after and loved the younger children in the family. With her gentle smile and warmth, Kathy became the emotional heart of the Davis family, balancing moments of sadness and affection throughout the show. After Family Affair ended, Kathy faced many challenges in escaping the shadow of her childhood fame. Hollywood offered few opportunities for actors who had grown up in the spotlight, and Kathy went through a difficult period filled with uncertainty in finding new roles and coping with psychological stress. Although she did not struggle with addiction, Kathy battled prolonged anxiety and relied on mild tranquilizers for a time. Kathy's life gradually stabilized as she discovered a new passion for voice acting and writing. In 1981, Kathy married businessman David Scott Travis. They had one son, Reed Garver Travis, and enjoyed a peaceful marriage lasting over 4 decades. However, recent years have brought deep sorrow to Kathy. David passed away in August 2025 after a long battle with cancer. In a heartfelt statement, Kathy wrote, "I have acted through scenes of loss, but living through loss, I have come to understand what true emptiness is." Despite her grief, Kathy continues to stay strong, finding comfort in art and creativity. Currently, Kathy Garver is 80 years old, still living in California, and participates in charity events and nostalgic programs. Although her Hollywood fame has faded, Kathy remains a symbol of perseverance and strength in the entertainment industry. Though no longer active in the entertainment industry, Sherry continues to be a role model of resilience and compassion. Her estate is currently estimated at around $1 million, mainly from voice acting work and personal savings. She has stepped away from the spotlight, but Sherry's image lives on in the hearts of fans as a symbol of strength and kindness overcoming all hardships. The stories of the stars of Family Affair are not just moments of glory, but lessons in resilience, pain, and unforeseen losses. They gave their all to the craft and brought deep emotions to audiences, yet behind the spotlight each faced their own personal challenges. These stories remind us of the cost of fame and the importance of perseverance when confronting destiny. Which story about the fates of the Family Affair stars surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to discover more untold Hollywood stories. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.